Hello, and welcome to the Saturday, December 15th meeting of TV Toastmasters. TV Toastmasters meets at the Anderson Community Television Studio at 7850 5 Mile Road on the first Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. and the third Saturday of the month at 9 a.m. All are welcome to come join us. Today we have an exciting meeting in store for us. One of our most dearest members is actually leaving us, so we'll have to be saying.
What I'm going to do today is a little different from how we generally do our table topics. I have a box with me, as Darren mentioned, and in this box I have a number of objects that have something to do with opening or getting into things or whatever. And I'm going to call on a couple of people in our studio audience here to come up and describe this object to our studio audience. They can't say what it is. They'll have 2 minutes to describe what it is. We'll see if the audience can figure out what it is. I will show everybody what it is and tell you what the object actually is. How's that for enough ises? And I would really like it if you can come up with some Darren responses that would entertain our audience here in the studio as well as those looking in from home. My first subject for today is actually helping us out here in the studio. I'm going to call on him to come up here and describe this object to the folks here in our studio. So, Rick Davis, would you come up here and describe this object to the audience? And we'll see if they can figure out what it is you're describing.
They get to look at it now?
Yeah, you get to see it. You can see it and touch it and that, but they can't see it. You have to tell them, describe this object and see what.
Well, this is one of Darren's favorite things. This is it. It looks sort of like a figure eight. I don't know what it is really. It opens on the bottom. It's pivoted on the top. It's brown with gray insets. It looks sort of like, to me, a bottle opener or something, but I don't think that's what it is. It's what else could it be?
How big is it?
It's about that big, with a little piece and a big piece of the eight. It looks like some sort of piece of camping gear or something that a rock climber would use for some reason. It's built pretty hefty. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It moves. It has a pivot on one end and opens up, so it doesn't seem like that's necessary for its function, but and there's a little.
A carabiner?
No, it's not a carabiner. I've seen one of those.
Yeah.
So.
Is it metal? Is it plastic?
It's plastic with metal insert. So.
Okay.
Does that make any sense to anybody?
Not really.
Okay, show them what it is.
Not a cracker.
What this is, and you were right with part of it. It has a bottle opener for bottles that you had to have a bottle opener. This is also used for opening bags, like bags of frozen vegetables and chips and stuff. You take and you clamp the top of the bag in here and you just zip it to the right and it'll cut it. You can also use this part as a jar opener too. So that's what this is. Thank you, Rick. Okay, I want to call on someone else to try another one of these that I have. And I think I'll be a little bit easier on the next person. Eric, I'd like you to come up here. Eric is a guest with us today, and he did volunteer to do this. He said he's stepping out of his comfort zone, so we will help you step out.
Perfect.
describe this object to the audience. You can't say what it is,
Right.
but I would like to see how well you can describe it and what their guesses are before we actually show them what
Just
it is.
based on physical appearance,
You
or also actions? To
You
which
can you can
use?
describe the actions and stuff too, but you can't you can't say like, you know, the word that it would what this would actually be doing.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
okay, and you have 2 minutes.
Right. So this object, it's approximately the size of your forearm, and your hand fits inside, and your hand has two functions within it. It can grip the handle, and your thumb is used as a fulcrum for it. It has sharp edges on the inside, and your mother always said not to run with this. And I tried to go to the physical. And so with that, it's also used for during the holiday season. Usually for, well, if you would like, you could use it to cut the meat, actually. If you've never done that, it's actually quite fun if you have a certain type of this. And yes, so it's something that I try to shy away from because my skills with it are not as refined as they need to be.
Okay.
Yes.
This is what it is. It's actually a heavier duty scissors, so I cut carpeting and things like that with it. I
Yeah.
didn't bring my kitchen shears,
No,
which is the one
you
you're
do have
talking
those.
about.
Yeah, they are useful.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of fun.
Yeah, when you said cut things, I didn't want you to use cut because
Gotcha.
that basically tells them, oh, it's a scissors or something like that. So, but thank you, Eric.
No, thank you.
Not to run with it. Yeah, not to run with it. All right. I do have more here, so. Okay. Rita, would you come up here and describe to the audience this object, and we'll see if they can get an idea what it is.
All right.
You know what that is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yes, it's rather long, smooth. One end of it splays out a bit. The other end of it is rather narrow. So it runs from narrow to almost a scoop type description of that. And I would say it's about 10 to 12 inches long. You may use this, it's probably in someone's closet or bedroom. I would say that you use it most likely in the morning, but not to say that it couldn't be used at other times of the day. I have seen these both for male and female. However, I tend to think that men use it more than ladies. What gave it away?
You're right. It's a shoehorn. Except I keep it on the kitchen table because I use it in the morning when I'm putting my shoes on for spinning class.
All right.
So, but thank you, Rita. Good job. Okay. Do we have time for one more?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, this next object I have here, I think this will be another one that will be a bit more difficult. Michelle, would you come up here and describe this to the audience? What it is, you put this around a jar and use it to open to leverage the jar. So
Okay.
I will let you describe that to them.
It's kind of a Darren, right?
Yeah.
When you say masculine, it's not necessarily cute or funny, but it's definitely a Darren because it's creative. So this is used, I'm allowed to say when it's used, correct? Or what? It's in the kitchen. I do not have one of these. And I'm going to guess that a lot of you do not have one of these. But we all have that difficult, this is usually more difficult for ladies when they're cooking. And this is a tough one. And you're going to get the jar of spaghetti sauce out, but you don't have a Darren to help you get it opened, and I think I'm totally breaking all the rules right now. Yes. I failed miserably on that. Sorry.
Yeah, this is
I
actually.
failed miserably.
Oh no, you did good. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, this is a jar opener. You can also use it to take oil filters off of cars and things like that. But you can actually extend this rubber ribbon and you put it around something and then you get the leverage to open it. And so it is useful in the kitchen, but you can use it some other places. Where did I find this? I'd have to think about it. I think I found it at some place like, Menards or Fleet Farm or someplace like that, where they have all kinds of things that you don't always see to help you with opening things, getting into things, because all of my things that I have here have to do with opening stuff. I have one of these, which especially people who are more wisdom enhanced would probably know what these are. This everybody recognizes. Use that for your chip bags. And then of course there's this other standby, the rubber pad that you use to open things. That's my table topics for today. Mr. Toastmaster?
Thanks, Steve. That's a very challenging table topics. And it's funny when you move, as you all know, when you move and you pack up, it's amazing how little mini gadgets like that you find that you thought was a great idea, that 10 years later you realize you used it once. So I have a house full of those things. Well, that's a great idea. I have to save some up for table topics. That's right.
Name an effective political leader in history who couldn't speak well. There aren't any.
Because when it comes to a disease,
Freedom requires leadership, and leadership requires oratory. You have to speak to be heard.
I have a dream.
It's all about personal growth and guts.
Never give in. Never, never, never.
We have 3 prepared speeches today, and I'm looking forward to a very full slate of great speeches. Our first speech is by one of our newest members. And the title of the speech is Bad Fashion Fads. Please welcome Sheena Staten, Bad Fashion Fads.
Hello. I tend to view the fashion world with a very skeptical eye and am not easily persuaded by new fashion trends, although it may not look like it right now. However, there are people out there who are very different from myself. They will follow a trend without blinking an eye. I Googled these people because I had no idea what they were called, and Urban Dictionary told me that they were called fashionaholics. According to Urban Dictionary, a fashionaholic is a person suffering from a state of undeniable, uncontrollable, and incurable addiction to anything fashion-related. I've come here today dressed as my very own exaggerated and daring version of a fashionaholic. They typically wear only one trend, whereas I'm wearing several, and their fads are probably more current. Whatever I got going on here, I'm not sure it's that current. Nevertheless, the question is, why is it bad to be a fashionaholic? The bad thing about being a fashionaholic is that these people blindly follow trends without any regard as to whether they look good or presentable. They tend to like something simply because the article of clothing appeared on a catwalk or on the red carpet. I think that this is a terrible way to live life. I think that fashionaholics are just suffering from a lack of good common sense. Just because the fashion powers that be tell you to wear something doesn't mean you should believe them. I mean, do you remember moon shoes and MC Hammer pants? Not good things. I've lived through many fashion fads, many of which I've enjoyed from the sidelines as I watched less sensible people suffer from one to the next. And that is why today I've decided to take you on a tour of sorts through the different fashion trends I've experienced and wholeheartedly disregarded throughout my life. Trend number 1, the poofy-armed long-sleeve shirt. I've made one. This isn't a real one. Young ladies started wearing these in my high school, and it wasn't set by someone, some celebrity or a designer. She actually found one of these, thought it was cute, and started wearing it, and it just kind of caught on. I hated these shirts. Every time I saw one, I couldn't help but thinking of a sailor or a pirate, hand to their brow, looking over the horizon on the back of some boat. It's just terrible. In my opinion, if the girls wanted to wear something or an altered version of a classic, they should have simply kept it simple. They could have worn a belt around the torso to accentuate their waist. They could have worn a long or exaggerated necklace to make an otherwise plain shirt, have it give it more flair. The options were limitless. All in all, these girls followed a trend that made their arms look 3 times bigger than they really were. And if you're a husband or a boyfriend or a woman out there, no woman should make themselves look bigger. They're always trying to make themselves look smaller. Needless to say, I never wore one of these things until today. So thanks. Trend number 2, the oversized earring. I actually made these yesterday. While I was in college, young women started wearing oversized earrings. As time went on, the earrings got bigger and bigger. Earring sizes, the hoops, went from $50 to a pop can to softball sizes. I kid you not. And besides getting rounder, some styles of earrings also got longer. When this style of earring first came out, they ended at the jawline. It's not too bad. It's a pretty good length. Then they grew and grew. The longest pair of earrings I saw went down to the shoulder and even the collarbone. I just couldn't help but thinking any time that I saw both of these types of earrings, if a brisk wind comes by and your earring gets caught in your mouth, don't wear it. If you can go through a doorway and your hoop gets caught on the doorknob, don't wear it. These girls should have stuck to the classics. Hoops are too big if you can fit your fist through them. Dangling earrings are too big if they go past mid-neck. Also, sometimes less is more. Don't underestimate the power of a cute stud. Anything with a pearl or a jewel or maybe a cute little flower. Keep it simple. And finally, trend number 3, dramatic makeup. Maybe this is about as daring as I get with my makeup. I started noticing this trend my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college. Girls would wear dramatic colors on the skin below their brow and on their eyelid. These colors were fire truck red or electric blue or magenta, whatever, all these different colors. To make matters worse, some girls would take these colors and add glitter to them. The last time I wore glitter, I was in 8th grade. These women were 22 years old wearing glitter on their eyes. I just thought it was a bit silly. To make matters even worse, some girls wouldn't stop at their lids. They would continue the color and the glitter along the rims of their eyes on the bottoms. I hated this trend more than any other, more than the poofy shirts, more than the earrings. I hated the dramatic makeup. I'm a firm believer in natural-looking makeup. Makeup should be subtle and accentuate your best features and not the fact that you probably got an A in art class. Determining an eyeshadow color should be based on 2 things, eye color and any kind of color that you have throughout your clothing. So if you have green or hazel eyes, think purple. If you have blue eyes, stay with earth tones. And if you have brown eyes, try greens. Keep that in mind, gentlemen. Also, you cannot go wrong if you splash a little bit of color on your lids that match the different colors in your clothing. All in all, fads are called fads for a reason. They come as quickly as they go. To my fashionaholics at home or in the audience, you know who you are. It is important to remember that your clothes should never wear you. Your personality should not be tied into your accessories, into your makeup, or into your clothing. Celebrate your personality with what you put on your body. It is more rewarding and original to create your own style than to blindly follow fashion trends. Instead of being a fashionaholic, it is better to be fashion savvy. Understand your body type, your skin tone, your eye color, and then go to the store and pick out the clothes, makeup, or accessories that best express you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've been dying to get out of this outfit and off stage, and I have to take a standard to my face to get all this makeup off. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheena.
Name an effective political leader in history who couldn't speak well. There aren't any.
Because when it comes to a disease,
Freedom requires leadership, and leadership requires oratory. You have to speak to be heard.
I have a dream.
It's all about personal growth and guts.
Never give in. Never, never, never.
Our next speaker was most recently the publicity chair for the district conference. He's also been our past club president and a past district governor. He's someone I definitely have a lot of respect for. However, as unusual as this may be, I have to disassociate myself from whatever comments our next speaker will present. But that said, I'd like to welcome Rick Barron with his speech, Barbecue Darren.
Thank you, Darren. I can honestly say that my speech today will be a real Darren. When I heard the news that Darren was moving north, I got a bit concerned. If you remember, Darren's kind of made this progressive move, working in Kentucky, then in Ohio, and now in Michigan. And I started to ask myself, what's he running away from? I did a little bit of research, and I found out a distinct similarity between Darren and one of the 10 most wanted on the FBI's list. And the resemblance is a bit striking. Unfortunately, Joe Luis was recently arrested. So we have to assume that our Darren is the real Darren, and he is not Joe Luis. Speaking of fugitives, at one point in time, Tiger Woods was big in the news. And he disappeared briefly for a period of time, and we began to wonder if he was hiding here among us. Was Tiger Woods really here visiting us at TV Toastmasters? Darren emphatically stated at one point in time, "I am not Tiger Woods!" That helped us really understand that we were not so blessed to have Tiger Woods among us. Darren has been a Toastmaster here in TV Toastmasters since 2005, and a Toastmaster even longer than that. In Toastmasters, we collect designations. When you achieve certain aspects in manuals, you get some initials behind your name. And I noticed in reviewing the roster that Darren has an Advanced Communicator Bronze. And I wondered, here's a man who's been in Toastmasters for a very long time. In the past 12 months, he has served in meeting roles, I think, 15 times, with his favorite position being Toastmaster. In addition, he has served as a leader in our club. He's the current Vice President of Membership. He served as President, Vice President of Education. He served in so many roles. I had to ask myself, does he have higher aspirations? And I think maybe Darren for President in 2016, that could be where our Darren is headed. Not sure, but it could be a possibility. Those of you who know Darren well from his speeches, you know that Christmas is his favorite time of year. He's told us how much he enjoys Christmas, spending time with family and his son, and I began to wonder if this move north wasn't an opportunity for Santa Darren. The resemblance here, I don't know. You add the hat and the fake beard and mustache, and I think we could see Santa Darren coming our way. All kidding aside, Darren, you've been a cornerstone for this club. Your contribution to TV Toastmasters has been one that we all cherish. But as you move north and you start your TV or your Toastmasters life up there, I reflect back on a comment that you made years ago when Carol Cormelink was not here at a meeting. You said, "My gosh, this is the first TV Toastmasters meeting I've ever been to when Carol hasn't been here." So what I've done is I've created the Toastmasters helpline so that you can use to remember anytime that you need help. Her phone number and her email address are right on the back. But I understand that this might be difficult for you to carry with you, so I came up with 9 wallet-sized samples that you can have in your hip pocket anywhere that you need help in Toastmasters. Carol Cormelink can be with you a brief phone call away. But I think I can speak for all of us here at TV Toastmasters and say that we will miss your smile, we'll miss your positive attitude, your friendly nature, and what we would like to do is offer you a lifetime friend of TV Toastmasters. Thank you so very much, Darren.
Thank you, Rick. That wasn't as bad as I was expecting. So. And I'm certain that Carol, knowing Carol, I'm certain if I asked Carol to come up, she would be up at the club in Michigan.
What future do you envision for yourself? What dreams do you have? If you want your dreams to come true, you must have confidence in yourself and your abilities. A Toastmasters Club can help you build that confidence. A low-cost learning experience for men and women. Toastmasters shows you how to express yourself clearly and effectively. Make your dreams a reality. Join a Toastmasters Club.
Our next speaker is Paul Wessels. And this is Paul speaking of the Competent Communication Manual. And the purpose of his speech is how to say it. Please welcome Paul Wessels with his speech, Carry On.
Thanks, Darren. Boy, how do you follow something like that? I mean, I'm telling you. You stand up here and you're in front of everyone and you center your notes right here on the lectern and your stomach is churning away. You had sat through the other speakers, tapping your nervous energy into the ground with your very active right foot, just tapping. Every once in a while, you would wipe your sweaty palms on your pants. Each time the speaker concluded, the audience would clap, and you would clap along with the audience. And then there would be a silence after the clap. And at that point, you could hear and feel your heart pounding in your chest. And then finally, your name. Your name is called. And it's your turn to speak. So your eyes crank open. Your throat, feel like you swallowed some sawdust. You stand up, and your legs are kind of funny. They feel a little bit funny, maybe a little bit wobbly. So you're very careful about the way you walk up here because you literally think you're going to collapse. And then here you are. As you begin to speak the words that you've rehearsed, you look into the audience, and it doesn't look quite right. Somebody's kind of smiling a little weird. It's not quite right. Somebody's writing in a notebook. you conclude to yourself, you know, they can see it. They must see how nervous I really am up here. And you think, you know, I'm bombing. You may say that to yourself. Or I look like an idiot up here. And so you kind of gather yourself and you say to the audience, you say, okay, wait a minute, let me start over. And then it gets worse. You feel worse. Now you're certain you look like an idiot. You're standing up here. And you feel that everyone in the room is either kind of embarrassed for you or they're about to kind of laugh at you. You feel that way, but the fact of the matter is the audience just isn't picking up on all that nervousness. No matter how powerful the emotion or strong the idea, it never seems to be as potent to the outside world as how you're feeling it at the time. There's a lot of interference between what's happening here and what's being perceived in the audience. We tend to think that our emotions are just leaking out into the world. They do a little bit, but in general, we drastically overestimate how obvious our thoughts and feelings are to the outside world. We fail to recognize that other people are in their own bubble. The audience is not staring at you. They're just looking at you. The audience is actually staring at themselves. When your nervousness takes over, many times you become too focused on yourself. When this happens, your ability to gauge how the audience is perceiving you becomes very distorted. So knowing this, you can plan for this effect and overcome it. So when you get near that person, that famous person you've always wanted to meet, maybe, and you feel Hurricane Sandy inside of you, don't freak out. You don't look as nervous as you feel. When you stand in front of an audience or in front of the cameras, there may be a thunderstorm of anxiety in your brain. It can't get out. That's what Toastmasters has shown me, particularly TV Toastmasters. We film, we tape ourselves here, so you can actually see how you presented yourself to the audience and how you felt at the time. And it's never equal. You always look better than you felt at the time. So smile when you go to that Christmas dinner and the meal tastes horrible. Because the cook cannot hear your brain trying to spit it out. Be patient when you're explaining a difficult subject to a novice or a difficult emotional subject to a family member. You don't suddenly become telepathic just because of a strong positive or negative feeling or emotion thundering in your mind. In all these situations, observe and feel your emotions, just like I am now. Here they are. I'm observing them. I'm feeling them. Here they are. Know that the emotions are not being transmitted as potently as you may believe. Keep moving and be a Darren. Carry on. Darren?
Thank you, Paul. One of the great things about Toastmasters is you can see the progression of people. I was in a club before Paul was, and it's interesting how much progression all of us make, but just specifically about Paul, I can remember the first time he got up here, he was probably speaking about his first speech because he was very nervous, and you could tell he was not comfortable up here, and today he gets up and gives a very comfortable speech. So I think that's really the great thing about Toastmasters, seeing people make that progression over the course of many years.
I'd like to begin tonight with a little joke. This guy, he's a farmer, and he says, "Hey, hello, sorry." But seriously, folks.
Speaking in public is no joke.
Doctor says, The chicken says...
For help, call Toastmasters, the public speaking support group.
The chicken.
We now move into probably the most important part of a Toastmasters meeting, at least in my opinion. That is the evaluation portion. This is where we get feedback on how we've done on the other parts of the meeting. So I'd like to introduce the key and my future helpline for any Toastmasters issues. Please welcome Carol Cormley, who will be our general evaluator today.
Thank you, Darren. Does that count as the use of the word of the day? We've had a Darren meeting so far, lots of fun. On the feedback, remember, this is each individual evaluator's opinion. You may not share that opinion, and some people sit there and going, well, I'm not coming back because I didn't like what they had to say. That is one person's opinion. We have these little note papers on our desk, on our seats, that we can write little notes of encouragement to the speaker, and I encourage you to do that, to tell them what they did well. Our very first speaker, our evaluator today, is a new member. I just thought Peter Ruhlman. I couldn't think of Dr. Ruhlman's last name here. A new member, Dr. Peter Ruhlman, evaluating Sheena.
Thank you, Carol, and I appreciate you not calling me Paul. Peter and Paul seem to get mixed up a lot, and so I appreciate that. And welcome, everybody, and Merry Christmas. It's that time of the year, believe it or not, about 9 or 10 days away for those of you who have not completed your shopping. It's my pleasure to evaluate Sheena tonight, this morning rather. What a great speech. This is her project 2 called Organize Your Speech. There are 4 objectives here. Select an appropriate outline, make your message clear, use appropriate transitions, and create a strong opening and conclusion. I thought Sheena did a great job with this speech. Her opening was not so much her words as her visual appearance. She comes out with these bizarre earrings, which I kind of liked. Kind of drew me into the speech. I'm going to learn more about this woman that wears these earrings that are draped over the podium here. I learned a new word, fashionaholic. I'd not heard that word. Is there a 12-step program for fashionaholics? Sheena spoke from her heart. This is something that she's thought about and researched and so on. And her enthusiasm and her passion and her negativity about fashionaholics came through sort of loud and clear. I thought the speech was well organized. She talked about the 3 trends, fashion trends that she had researched and gone through. I learned a lot about it, including some makeup tips, which I didn't know I had to match my hair and my eyes and all that. It was very well done. Her conclusion kind of built up, but the bottom line was be yourself. Don't follow fashion trends. Create your own style. Be fashion savvy, but not completely at the whim of the universe. And her conclusion was, I'm dying to get out of this outfit, and thank you very much for your attention. So I thought it was a good, well-organized speech. I enjoyed it, and thanks for sharing with us.
Thank you so much, Peter, for that Darren evaluation. Very good. Your first evaluation here. Our second evaluator today is Mary Arms, that will be evaluating Rick's barbecuing or whatever that was. Mary Arms, competent communicator.
Thank you so much. Well, Rick, it was a great speech. I like that speech. Now, I'm going by with the evaluation sheet here, and it says, how well were your jokes and anecdotes adapt to the occasion individual that has been roasted? The jokes were perfect. That was the best part of the whole speech. And the speech was great too. How did the speaker deliver and contribute to the hinder and effectiveness of the humorous material? Rick delivered a great part to the humorous material. It reminded me of some of the roasts that were on TV a long time ago, and that was a long time. How effective were the jokes and the anecdotes. They were perfect. That's my new word for the day. It's perfect. And they're asking about your body language. You just stood in one spot. You should have moved the lectern to the side, and you just move around. But your variety was great. You know, your vocal variety was perfect. And could the speaker have done anything differently? No, not one thing. And how did I like the speech? The speech was the best roast I've ever attended. And I don't attend very many. And Rick, thank you. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mary. That's not one of her favorite roles, to be an evaluator, so I appreciate that you're up here. I share your thoughts. Our next evaluator will be evaluating Paul's speech, and Veronica is an advanced Toastmaster, it's on the sheet here, silver, and advanced leader bronze. She's not too far away from becoming a distinguished Toastmaster at the top of the educational requirements. Veronica Sanford.
Paul, you picked the scab off of all of our fears. Stood up here and willingly exposed your fears. Takes a lot of courage. I would say it's Darren. Excellent gestures. Over-the-top visuals. I could see everything you were saying, not just hear it. My guess is that you're ready for the next level. Two things that I would suggest. Once you've written your speech, which was so clearly thought out, so much work and time put into it, you robbed us of the most pivotal moments because you were looking down. What the audience wants is you, your energy, your thoughts, those moments embedded in their brain. Because what you're doing is after you've picked off that scab, how are they going to fix it? That's really key. What you were saying, particularly for this audience, the TV Toastmasters world and anybody who's watching on TV, is, okay, so what am I going to do about it? And you gave such great insights into what to do about that. So I would suggest that after you've written your speech out, summarize and summarize and summarize. Back in college, we used to have cheat sheets. So I would prepare my cheat sheets of the key points, just even key words, that would reduce and condense your speech into those, just those pivotal things, so that you could write it on this sheet and then bring it up, and in case you got stumped, it would be your next cue to look down. And then that way your eye contact is lower, because I imagine with so much practice that was clearly put into that speech, you're ready for that next step. The only other quick comment is that one of your gestures, you actually were covering your face. And so one of the key points of advice that I was ever given is when you're speaking to somebody, don't be covering your face, because actually what you're doing is lessening that level of communication. But I thought, such a gift. Really, your speech was such a gift, and your content was such a gift as well. Madam Toastmaster?
Thank you, Veronica, for those wonderful words of encouragement. We have a couple more people on the evaluation team, and that will be our grammarian report with Peter Ruhlman, and our use of the word of the day, and our good and bad usage of the English language. Peter Ruhlman.
Thank you once again, Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. It's my pleasure to be the grammarian this morning. I keep wanting to say this evening, but it is morning. It's hard to tell down here in the tunnels. I think everybody did very well tonight. On Michelle, I noticed one comment she made, the most dearest member. I think that should be the dearest, not the most dearest, referring to Darren. I heard Darren several times in your initial comments. Darren, you were perfect throughout the morning, so great job. Rita used Darren one time. Steve used Darren several times. I did hear Steve say like. That reminds me of my teenage kids. Like this, like this, like this. Every other word, it seems like. And I heard Steve say, you did good to somebody. I think you meant to say you did well. That's an adverb, not an adjective. Rick, I heard when his table topics, I heard 7 ums. And it's hard probably to get up here ad lib and here's this item, because he didn't have anything prepared. So that's a difficult topic. Eric, I heard 15 ums from you. Something you have to work on, something I have to work on. Rita and her table topics, I heard 5 ums. Michelle, just did it myself. I heard a couple Darrens from Michelle. Did it myself again, I'm catching myself. Rick Barron, the record for the morning, 15 Darrens, no ums. Paul Wessels, great speech, heard 1 2 Darrens. Mary had no problems, and Veronica, what a pleasure to hear you speak. You've obviously been doing this for quite a while. You're my new heroine. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Peter, for that wonderful report. And we even pressed our guest into role here, and he will come up and give us our timers report for the day. Eric Elias. Yep, Elias, is that how you pronounce that? Yeah, you just read the name and time.
Okay. Yeah, so for word power, am I doing this right? Yes. Rita had 1 minute and 20 seconds. For the table topics, we had Rick Davis. Rick, you had 1 minute and 34 seconds. Myself, I had 1 minute. Rita had 1 minute and 12 seconds. Michelle had 1 minute and 14 seconds. With the scheduled speakers, we had Sheena. You went 6 minutes and 26 seconds. Rick, 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Paul, where's Paul? There's Paul. 6 minutes and 11 seconds. On the evaluation team, we had Peter with 2 minutes and 4 seconds. Mary, 1 minute and 41 seconds. And Veronica, 2 minutes and 47 seconds. And the grammarian, Peter, you had 1 minute and 53 seconds. Appropriate?
You get that.
Oh, got it. Appropriate.
Thank you for that fantastic job. Wow.
Thank you.
And I want you to know I did not hear any of your ums and ahs in the table topics because I was timing. So I was concentrating on timing, so I never heard one of them. That is our evaluation. It's now that I will evaluate the evaluators and then the meeting. I don't do this myself, so I am really thrilled when someone does this. An evaluation is actually a mini speech with an opening, a body, and a conclusion. You do not read the questions out of the evaluation form in the back. You are writing a mini speech, and that is what Veronica did. Thank you so much, Veronica. And to use the evaluation, the sandwich method, where she gave Paul some of the things he did well, some of the things that he could do better as far as not using the notes. And if you do have to look at your notes, I'm trying to learn like the choir people do. They don't look down at the hymnal like this. Their eyes are down looking down. And if you make the words big enough, then you can do that. And thank you so much for showing us how a real evaluation is done. The first one tells what they did well, some suggestions for improvement, and I loved your phrase that he picked the scab off of our fears. I thought that was quite unique. You didn't pick up on that, Peter. The rest of the meeting went very well. We had a Darren meeting. It was a lot of fun. We will really miss you, Darren. You're just fantastic. And I will return control of the meeting to Darren.
Thank you, Madam Grammarian. I missed the opportunity to speak about myself in the third person. I just realized the entire meeting could have been, well, Darren thinks this or Darren thinks that. But, I came to this club about 7 years ago because I was in Toastmasters previously, but I couldn't make it work out with my schedule, so I dropped out for about a year. But I really wanted to get back in, and lo and behold, I found there were a group of people crazy enough to meet on Saturday morning. So even though I'm not a morning person, I decided to commit one Saturday morning a month to coming to this club. About 2 years later, I changed jobs, and at that point had the opportunity to go to pretty much any club I wanted to because I was able to work my schedule out to where I could go to evening clubs. But by that point, I was hooked, so I stayed here. This is really a great club. As you can tell from all the laughter, we have a lot of fun in here every third Saturday and first Thursday. I'll make one last plug. And Carol gave me, Carol being Carol, Carol gave me a little packet to take with me of little memories, little things. But the main thing I'll take with me is, in Toastmasters, you actually can learn more about a person in 2 years than you can live next to a neighbor for 20 years, not learn what you can learn about a Toastmasters person in 2 years. So I'll take with me the memories of all the speeches you've given, all the things I've learned about you, and then there's probably 30 or 40 other people who've been through this club over the past 7 years, so I'll remember also. So once again, I'll have a lot of great memories and really miss you guys, and if I ever come back to Cincinnati for a visit, trust me, I'll be here on the third Saturday of every month at 9 o'clock. So thank you very much. And with that, I'll return control to our president, Michelle.
Thank you, Darren.
Oops, sorry. That was a very Darren thing to do. Right?
Very Darren, I'm sure. What a great meeting today. A lot of fun. And as we mentioned earlier, we can't say enough how much you'll be missed, Darren, and you'll have great opportunities ahead of you. But don't forget about us down here, and please do come back and visit. I want to say thank you to Eric, our guest today in the studio audience. Stepped up and took 2 roles. He was a table topics master or table topics speaker as well as a timer, and believe me, that takes a lot of courage. Some fantastic speeches, and I do want to mention there is one announcement: the District 40 Spring Conference is coming up. So please mark your calendars. It's April 19th, 20th, and 21st at the Blackwell Center in Columbus, Ohio. And I also want to mention December 18th, next Tuesday, is the Anderson Community Television Studio Christmas party for those in the audience, if you can make it from 7 to 8:30. With that being said, those looking in at home, please take the opportunity to come check us out. You can learn more about us at www.tvtoastmasters.org. And we meet again, as Darren said, the first Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. at the Anderson Community Television Studio, 7850 5 Mile Road, and also the third Saturday of the month at 9 a.m. Looking forward to seeing you. Take care.